Has the Prime Minister reached out at all?
He's spoken to my colleagues, I've spoken with the Premier, I've spoken with his ministers and the opposition as well. Everyone has strong words at the moment of condemnation and sorrow.
So that looks like the Bondi Pavilion, Alex. That's the Prime Minister there with police.
Yeah.
So he's down here at the moment. That's not very far from where we are, folks. So that's some live pictures that are coming into us. So just elaborate on that point, Alex. So he's reached out to your people. I mean, Alex, you're a well-known face, not just in the Jewish community, but all around the country. You've been an ever-present when it comes to battling against this rise of anti-Semitism. And there's been so much anger for that man there. And not just him, to be fair, but other members of his government. And here he is with some flowers, and he's going to be laying them at the scene. How are you feeling about him this morning and his government?
I'm not thinking so much of the Prime Minister right now. I'm thinking of the dead and the families. But there will be a reckoning. There will be a time in the coming days when we will look at how this was allowed to happen. And ultimately, we as Australian citizens all look to our government to protect us and keep us safe. And if we can't gather at Bondi Beach to light a Hanukkah and eat jam-filled donuts and enjoy the beach and the weather, this is a colossal failing of this government. And I know the Prime Minister abhors this hatred. I know he'll be a broken man today like we all are. But he's the Prime Minister of the country, and we have gotten to this point over 2 years.
I made the point, though, too. I mean, there's other instances, and you know, Penny Wong not going to certain areas when she visited Israel. I mean, it all kind of builds up, doesn't it?
I think that from the very beginning, the government viewed condemning anti-Semitism and fighting anti-Semitism as something political, as something which came at a cost. But the cost is in human lives. It's going to
cost them votes.
Well, that's right. It's going to cost them votes or criticism or support in certain quarters. And I think they never truly grasped what was transpiring in this country, what was taking hold in this country, that anti-Semitism is not a casual racism. It's a mania. It takes over people's minds and leads them to do the most horrific things imaginable. We know this because we've lived this, we've studied this, and we've told the government this for years and years and years. And their response has been greater security funding after the fact, which is appreciated, but it doesn't deal with the problem, and it's not how anyone wants to live. A blueprint was presented to the government on Sky News and by the Special Envoy afterwards. It sits on the shelf to this day, and there's got to be a responsibility for that.
What do you want them to do now?
Well, immediately, we can't talk about long-term strategies about changing the culture and education. That's all good and well. There was a time for that. That time has passed. Now we're dealing with an urgent security and law enforcement situation. We've had over the last 2 years the Iranian regime carrying out attacks on Australian soil. We now have this. This is a crisis of a new magnitude that the government has to deal with every lever and every power that it has. And then we can start talking about long-term change in the culture and the conspiracy theories and all that. But right now we're dealing with a basic national security issue that has slaughtered our people on a beach.
Have you any thoughts, and I raise it because other people I have spoken to have raised this as well, so it's being spoken about in local circles, the East-West divide. You know, we saw this years ago in Cronulla, a long time ago now, but do you have any fears about that, or do you think most people will be of the view that this is just two deranged madmen who carried out something for whatever reason, and it'll be left there?
I think it's tempting to say that this is just a couple of guys because it's easy to sleep at night. You know, you console yourself with that sort of thing to tell yourself that there aren't more people like this. But we've seen over 2 years people marching in revelry of the murder of Jews, celebrating October 7, defending...
Marching on the Harbour Bridge.
Marching on the Harbour Bridge behind placards of the Ayatollah, who carried out, as we've said, attacks on home soil. So we can't delude ourselves. There are people in this country that will be waking up and reveling in this and saying the Jews got exactly what they deserved and wishing that more people were killed. That's a fact. And so we have to confront it. We can't live in this blindness anymore of thinking that everyone is good and decent and thinks like you and I do and just want to have good, peaceful lives. People came here with their families, but other people viewed that as an opportunity to slaughter. And we have to understand what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a true evil.
Because it could happen again. I mean, there would be people who still hold the views that these two people yesterday hold.
There's no question about that. It's not an ideology limited to two individuals.
So you fear it will happen again?
Look, I can't predict the future,
Sure.
but we never thought that we'd see fire bombings and burning of synagogues and childcare centres. And when that happened, we said this will end with people getting killed. And now this is where we are. And will it stop? Will anti-Semitism suddenly dissipate? It never happens that way. It gets worse and worse and worse, and then you'll see it'll be like night follows day. You'll see the conspiracy theories, the claims of an inside job, all that nonsense, and it fuels it further and further and further, and then people then peel off and commit these sorts of acts. And we've seen a rise of neo-Nazism in this country. It's not confined to one ideology or one ethnic group, but also we have to be honest about what happened here and where it came from. You spoke about an east-west divide. There are people clearly that live 20, 30 minutes from here who think very, very differently, who want to see a different country, and who feel so strongly in their views that they will slaughter women, children and Holocaust survivors. For what end, I don't know. I don't know how they think they've improved the world or advanced an agenda, but that's what they've done.
Okay. We might no, we've just missed him. So that's the Prime Minister. Yeah, he's still here, Alex. Just laid some flowers. We thought we might be able to get a few words with him. We'll keep this conversation going, though, Alex. I mean, and while our camera catches up, and we'll see if we can get a couple of words with the Prime Minister. We'll just take this camera and see if anything is being said. If we can just take some natural sound here.
Thanks, Prime Minister.
Well, it looks like he's getting in the car, Alex, and moving away. I'll just close out with a thought here too on Prime Minister Netanyahu. I mean, they've clearly got a strained relationship over in Israel. The Prime Minister was very strident and strong overnight. He's been very public with his criticisms of Anthony Albanese. Do you have a view on that today? Because it feels as though our relationship with someone who is supposed to be a key ally is now at rock bottom.
Well, look, we've seen a degradation in the diplomatic relationship over a long period of time, and we've commented on that and spoken about the need to get back to good diplomatic relations and conversations. But I understand Prime Minister Netanyahu's feelings. He's feeling like every Jew around the world is feeling. He's feeling like not only a sense of despair, but also that his counterpart here in Australia has failed in his fundamental duty to protect human life. There's no two ways about that.
It's a failure. It's
a failure. I mean, the Prime Minister isn't personally culpable. He abhors anti-Semitism. I don't question that at all. But we elect him to keep us safe. We elect him to look after the things that we can't look after ourselves, which is our national security. And this is a colossal failure of that.
And do you feel like there's always been this false moral equivalence between Islamophobia and anti-Semitism?
I mean, you look at the fact that Gillian Siegel presented a report a few months ago, and the reaction of government was, we'll wait for the Islamophobia report. And we knew at the time it was the most dastardly, foolish perspective to take. The fact that they're somehow twinned, but it speaks to, again, the way that the government has always viewed anti-Semitism as something political. And if they're seen to do something on anti-Semitism, they have to be seen to do something on other forms of hatred as well. Unrelated, not as lethal. But this has been the failure of government. They haven't recognised the uniqueness of this and what it's doing to our country. And now we've got body bags to count.
Alex, look, I appreciate your time and your insights this morning. I hope you know how much we're feeling for you and the Jewish community here in Sydney and all around the country for that matter today. We're thinking of you, we're feeling for you, and we'll be there with you as we go on this journey together to somehow recover from it all.
Thank you.
That's Alex Rifchin here talking to us live from Bondi. For now, Kieran, we'll send it back to you.